Hello everybody, this is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and today I'm going to show you a crocheted pattern that is so versatile you can use it for 3 different things. First off, you can hang it on your Christmas tree and put in little gifts like chocolate, and that's what I have in this one. And you can slide it in there and just hang it off of your tree. Second, you can place it on your table on Christmas Day and use it to hold your silverware. All you need is one by each plate. And lastly, it makes a wonderful gift card holder. For this project, I am using Caron Simply Soft. It is a 6-ounce skein, and it is very, very soft. It's so hard to find red, white, and green this time of year. You may have to order it, but I am using red and I am using white for this project. It is a medium, which is size 4. And the official name is Harvest Red. The white color is simply that. It is just called white. Now I feel that it's a little off-white, but either way, it is a beautiful white and it goes very well next to that red. The crochet hook I'm using is a size F or number 5. That equals a 3.75 millimeter. So it is a fairly small hook. I'm used to using a much larger one. And I've added some accents of buttons. This actually has a purpose, although it looks wonderful. If you're hanging this on your Christmas tree, you can put your tag hanging right off of that button. So it actually has a purpose. So for that, you're going to need a couple buttons, and you're going to sew them on by hand. So you need some needles and some thread. So grab a pair of scissors and let's get started. This entire project is made completely with single crochet. So I call this a beginner project. Although it has several multiple steps, it is not difficult to make. The first thing I'm going to do is put the yarn onto my hook. And the way you do that, let me put my hook down, is I wrap it around my fingers. And then when I get to the top, I've crossed it. See how I crossed that? Now I take my hook and I'm going to go under, over, and put the knot on there. Now I've showed this many times, but all I'm going to do is chain 2. Now this is not teaching you how to crochet, so by now we should know how to chain 2. If you don't, I highly recommend you go to my beginners video, and there's 2 stitches on there. Let's get started with round 1. I have 2 chains on my hook, and what I'm going to do is put 9 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So there's 1 and 2. And so I'm going to put the first single crochet there. It looks like that. And now I'm going to put the other 8, so a total of 9, into that same hole. And that is the same as doing a magic circle. So put all 9 in there. Now when I get to that loose string right there, I'm just gonna keep moving him around the circle. Don't lose track of counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the last one is 9. All right, that is round 1. For round 2, I'm going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch. There's my first one, 1 and 2. So you're going to put 2 in every single stitch going around in a circle, which will give you a total of 18 stitches. You may notice I'm not using stitch markers. I never do. I believe in counting my stitches, so I'm very good at counting as I go. And we are moving on to round 3. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch and 2 in the following stitch. And that's going to go around doing 1, 2, 1, 2, and I will have a total of 27 stitches. So on to the first one, which is 1 stitch, and then 2 stitches. So I am up to 3, and I'm just going to keep on going. Stitch 4 is a single, and stitch 5 and 6 I put 2 in. This is 27 stitches, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it over and just shorten the string that I have left. I don't want it real long. So I cut that off a little bit. That's going to be on the inside, so you're never going to see that. But I have 27 stitches right now. Now we get to the easy part. This is for rounds 4 through 13. You don't even need to count from this point on. You're just going to keep going in circles and putting a single crochet in every one. So this makes it really, really easy. If you look on here, 1, 2, 3, this is the 4th round. So you're just going to count until you have 13 of those. So just keep going in a circle for 13 rows. I'm about halfway towards my 13 rows, but I want to show you it starts to make this like a bowl shape. So what I have also, you're going to be counting, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am now starting my 7th row. So that is the shape we're looking for. And then when your stocking is made, it's going to fold over. So that's going to be the toe. I have completed those 13 rows. As I said, it makes like a cup shape. Now, what can be a little tricky is counting them. It is not supposed to be difficult. If it's off a little, it's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, but let's take a look at this. Let me move it closer. All right, to count, I'm going to start here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, if I look at the very end, you can kind of tell this is where it went from this row to making the next row. That's where the spiral starts. So that's about the area that I want to be. This is the back of my stocking. So right there, that was row 13. We are off to round 14, and this is the beginning of the heel of our stocking. And so I'm going to show you on here what I'm talking about. We're about here. And right now I'm going to make this ripple going back and forth. And the way I do that is only using the back loops. Now, if you're wondering why this one is so chubby, what I did was I filled it with tissues just to make it a little more plump. But this is the part we're working on now. This is the heel. We start this round by a slip stitch into the very next stitch. So just a slip stitch like that. And now I am going to put 13 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 13 stitches. So 1, 2, and just go around 3, 4, and just keep going until you hit 13. This was round 14. I slip stitched and then I did 13 single crochet. Now I am going to chain 1 and turn, and this is where I am only going to use the back stitch or the back loop of each stitch. So I am just going to do a single crochet in the next 14 stitches because we had 1 slip stitch and 13 stitches. So we have 14 going across. And then I'm going to chain and go back, and I'm going to go back and forth 6 rows. This is what we have right now. This is 6 rows, and the way to count them, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it looks like that from the side. Now, if there's anything tricky about this project, it's this next section right here. You're going to start by doing 1 chain stitch. Now we want to put the right sides together, so you are actually going to push this out and turn it. And I know that it's very confusing because it's going to get stitched here and then it's going to fold down. So let me show you that again. We have it this way, just like that. The right side is the outside. So see where we're at. So take that outside and flip it together and line it all up. From here, we're going to slip stitch this edge. There's not very many stitches, about 7 stitches, and you're going to do the back loops again and slip stitch to the end. So let me show you. I have 1 chain on there. I'm going to go through that one and then the back stitch of that one, and then we're going to slip stitch it. There's 1, and we're going to keep going across. Next stitch, back loop, and 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's going to get you right to that last stitch, which is 7, like that. And then that last stitch goes in there, and that is 7 stitches, just like that. All right, now you're going to cut your yarn about there. And what I do is I pull that through the loop, and I always put another little knot in there. I don't trust that that's going to be enough. And you can trim it a little bit, but again, I don't go weaving the edges because look here, that's going to be way down there. All right, and now it looks like you have a little slipper. We are getting ready for round 21, and you are going to put a loop onto your hook, just like I showed you earlier, and tighten it up. And what you want to do is look for the very back of the heel. So right there, and turn it. Now there's not an exact place to put it, but you are going to put a single crochet like that. We are going to continue in this direction, and we're going to put 6 stitches in here. Now see how there's only 1 loop? That is very tempting to put one in there because it's easy to grab, but I always recommend that you have at least 2 stitches. It just makes it so you don't have any gaps. So we need 6, and you're just going to basically just, oh, see, there's just 1. I don't want 1. Wiggle it around until you have, there we go, at least 2 stitches, and put in a single crochet. All right, so there's 1. And 2. We don't want that space. 3. 4. 'Sometimes you gotta get it in there. 5. 1 more right in there. And 6. All right, we have 6 single crochet. Now we're going to go back to where we had started from. So we have 6 going across and then this row. So 6 and then start going this way. 7, 8, and continue around till you get to this side, and we go back that way. So finish across the top and I'll be right back with you. All right, so I started a stitch here. I put 6 on this side. I put 13 going across, which brought me down to this side. And what I'm going to do is put 7 across until we get back to where we started. Let's see, we even have right there. So we go back to there. So right now I'm going to squeeze in 7 stitches going across. And the same as before, you don't want to put it where you don't have at least 2 loops. Oops. Let me fix that one again. Okay, so at least 2 loops. Like that. There's 1. And you're just spacing them out the distance you have to the heel. 2. Oh. I don't want to end that one, not enough. There we go. 3, and keep on going until you have 7. That was round 21, and it is 27 stitches. So we have 7, and then we go around for 13, and then we have 7. So That is 27 stitches, and we are going to go around all the way up. This is going to continue until we go to round 37. And so it's going to be as large as that one. So we are at this point right here. You're going to go all the way up to there, round 37. So 1 stitch in every single stitch. Just keep going in a circle. I want to talk a little bit about how to count these rows because it can get very confusing. You might think, since we're going to end at 37, that you need to have from here on up to 37. If you do that, it's going to be way too long and skinny. So this is what I want to do. We've done 13 here and we did 6 here. Now the 13 and 6 would be about 19 rows. You might be 18. You might be 20. It's okay. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop counting from this point, and now I'm going to focus from this point up. So if we want a total of 36, 37, 38 rounds, I told you I'm really flexible when I'm crocheting. That means we're going to need about 18 more rows from this point. So let's start looking at this to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That I think is easier than counting from here, then adding those, and then adding those. So from this point on, you're just going to count the rows going up, and you're going to want about 18. If you think he's too short and stout, you can make him longer. And some people like them very, very long. So at this point, extremely flexible on the sizing that you want. At this point, we're going to start crocheting the white part. It is called the cuff. So you're going to first make a loop and put it onto your hook, and then you're going to chain 12. All right, there's my loop, and chain 12. Now you don't want these too loose. And go until you have 12 stitches. I'm going to go to the second loop from my hook and put in a single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end, giving me 11 stitches. Here's the first row. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn, and from this point on, I'm only going to crochet in the back loops. So we are going to have rows of 11, and we're going to do about 25 rows. And I say about because it depends how wide your stocking is. You may have added a stitch, dropped a stitch, and your stitches sometimes are different sizes. This is what 25 rows look like, and I'm going to show you how to count them. I'm going to count by 2s on this big ridge. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and half a row, 25. And to see if this length is going to work, I'm going to fold it in half and then hold it up to my stocking, and look at that. It needs to be just the teeniest bit bigger, but I think I have successfully made one. So 25 stitches was correct. First thing to do is put 1 slip stitch in at the end of that row, and now I'm going to fold it over to meet it, just like that, and turn it over so that across the top is where I am stitching. And I'm going to do similar to what I've done before. I am going to slip stitch across the top. And this is my slip stitch going all the way across to the end. I just did the last stitch. Oh, I dropped one of those threads. There we go. And what I'm going to do is cut this end off. So set that down and make a quick cut. Then, like the other ones, I'm going to pull that through the loop and give it a tug. I just wove the ends from this one. I had a tail on both sides. So I took this tail and I went right where I had slip stitched that. This is the wrong side. And so what I'm going to do now is turn this inside out, because this side is the right side, and that's the side I want to put down into my stocking. So you want to keep this tail up and slip it down into your stocking. This is what it looks like before I attach this cuff to the top of my stocking. Now I do have two loose ends here. I'm just going to tie them quick together. Now both of these are going to be down under the cuff, so you're not going to see them once I trim it just a little bit. The next step is to sew this cuff onto the stocking, and to do that I'm going to get some more white yarn, wrap that around my fingers, and put it onto my hook. To do the slip stitch all around it, I'm going to use the stitches across the top of the red stocking because those stitches are even. That was the direction that I crocheted. Now the stitches over here on the cuff are not even. That was done the opposite direction. So I think it's easier to look at the ones on the red and go through those. So the first one's a little tricky to get started. Get it through that loop. There we go. All right, from this point on, I'm just going to go through there and then just find a place to attach it and form a simple stitch. So we're going to slip stitch this all the way around. Again, I try to have at least 2 loops on my crochet hook so that it stays on there and doesn't have a big gap. We don't want any big gaps. All right, so just keep going all the way around, slip stitching till you get to the back. And this is what it looks like, slip stitched all the way around. So I am back to the beginning, and what I'm going to do is cut this string. I should say yarn. All right, and like the others, grab the end and pull it through the loop. Give it a good tug. And what I like to do here is tie these strings together. Now that one is a different one, but the beginning one and the last one I like to tie together. Now if you want, you can weave all these ends in, but I don't choose to do that. I've got 4 of them here, and I am just going to cut them a little bit shorter because at this point the cuff comes out. Just like that, and you never see those ends. To go, the first one is to sew this button on by hand, and I'm going to use that do that by using a needle and thread. So I'm not going to show you how I do that, but you're just going to line it up across the top and make sure that you don't go through to the back because you want to be able to open your stocking. I sewed the button on. It took less than 2 minutes. The next thing I'm going to do is to add this hook onto your stocking. So you can hang it as an ornament, you can hang it up on a wall, but that makes it so very handy, and it's going to go to the back of your stocking. What you need is your white yarn, and you're going to put it onto your crochet hook, just like we have showed before. You can make this chain as long or as short as you want. And at this point, I'm going to go through and do slip stitches. So it is an entire row of slip stitch, not single crochet. And what that's going to do is make a wide chain. So do this going the whole way across. All right, so this is that long loop, and now we're going to attach it to our stocking. The easiest way I found to do that is to turn it so you're looking at the back of your stocking, and I am going to insert my hook into that now through the white, just like that. It doesn't matter exactly where it is. And then I'm going to grab the end of that chain. I'm just trying to pull it through, and it might involve some wiggling. Oh, we got it. Until you have the chain through the back of your stocking, just like that. Now all I need to do is to take my hook, go through the end of that chain, and put a slip stitch. Cut off the end and pull it through. We're almost there. I have my 2 ends sticking up, so I'm going to grab this chain and pull it so that those ends are now in there. And the last thing I got to do is weave them in. I have pulled the 2 ends under here, tucked it there, and now all I need to do is trim. And you'll see that I have others that are down in there that have been trimmed, but once you pull this down, you can't see them, and the button holds this cuff down. And there you have it, a miniature stocking. You can use this for gift cards, for candy and treats, or you can even use it to decorate your holiday table. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.